pledges, kids, and patrons. We usually don't start until Ryan gives us the thumbs up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will move on to our consensus agenda.
Okay, I move that we approve the vouchers for last month. We've got accounts payable vouchers of $556,275.97, payrolls of $454,317.13, minus some voids. Gives us the total expenditures for the month of $1,010,539.60. Along with that, I move we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. All right, patrons' comments.
4-0.
Oh, 5-0, woo, sorry.
I'm here this time.
Yeah. Last month we were 5-0. So patrons' comments. So this is when anybody can ask a question, and we have a whole bunch of government students here today. The largest we've probably have ever had in August.
Good work.
Yeah.
Responsible
Did
kids.
I think they should get extra credit.
Did everybody sign in? So you do get credit. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? If there are, we're kind of really kind to the government students if you have questions. And there will be a time at the end.
Why did you look at me when you said
I know.
I'm gonna leave them alone
Okay.
tonight.
Later in there is patrons' comments as well. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. If there's no other questions, we will move on to the personnel.
All right, starting with extracurricular activities, I'd like to recommend the approval of Olivia Weymouth as the head girls golf coach.
Are we going one by one, or are you gonna lump?
We'll go one by one based on sports. Let's do
Okay.
that.
I move that we hire Olivia Weymouth as the head girls golf coach.
Second.
Moved by Wes, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I say that, and then I see Ben Weymouth is down there, about 4 down there. So we'll go ahead and recommend the approval of Ben Weymouth as a volunteer girls coach.
I move we do that.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
All right, I recommend the approval of Samantha Phoenix as a 6th grade girls volleyball coach and Christina Hartman as the 8th grade girls volleyball coach.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Recommend the approval of Ashley Faulkner as the new varsity girls head basketball coach.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion?
Thank
Uh-uh.
you, Ashley, for
Yeah.
stepping up.
All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next group here are simply supervisors, as we put in our collective bargaining agreement a couple years ago. So I'd like to recommend the approval of Lisa Beamish as the varsity cross-country supervisor, Jason Groves as the varsity football supervisor, Megan Hammond as the varsity volleyball supervisor, Mr. Joel Grindle as the JV and junior high football supervisor, Stephen and Rachel Watkins as the fall weight room supervisors, Diane Murphy as the junior high volleyball supervisor.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
And last but not least in that category, I'd like to recommend the certified extracurricular activity contracts. And those are in the folder to be signed.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to the certified and ECA.
All right, so I recommend the first two here, the resignation of Janet Jackson as the 7th and 8th grade science teacher. Obviously, that happened late into the summer. And then also resignation of Kennedy Kroll as the high school social studies teacher and softball and basketball coach. She received a position at Georgia Southern to be a grad assistant, which is what she's dreamed of doing. So we thank them for their service and wish them well.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next several here, some of them are new teachers. Some of them are just, they change seats on the bus. So we'll go ahead and go through these. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer some of those, but I'll fill in the pieces as we go. I recommend the approval of Joel Grendel as the high school business teacher, Olivia Weymouth as the high school social studies teacher, Diane Murphy is junior high English. She will be moving from 4th grade to junior high English. Jason Groves, recommend the approval of Jason to move to PE and health from the English slot that Diane just took. Lana Hostrauser from 5th grade to 4th grade. Abby Dreibelbis as a 5th grade long-term substitute teacher. Hannah Baker is a 5th grade teacher, and Ethan Stark is a junior high teacher.
So moved.
By Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Per our master contract, we have teacher mentors, so anybody that's in a new position, we just team them up with somebody that's already a teacher within that building. So we have, I would recommend the approval of the teacher mentors, Jenny Mevis, Cindy Stichter, Jason Groves, Blake Shorey, and Andy Bass.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor?
I have to recuse
Yes.
myself.
4-0-1.
So for those of you that don't understand what I just did, I cannot vote for someone in my family to approve a contract or something like that. Okay?
And then, did you already vote?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you got that. Last but not least, I recommend the approval of the status quo teacher contracts. So for our audience, status quo simply means teachers that start a new year will keep the same contract that they had the year before until we collectively bargain in October, which will then be a new contract for a new amount. And then we'll go back and write them another contract for retroactive pay, which means it'll go clear back to the beginning of the year and we'll pay them for that time. Beginning of the school year, sorry, yeah, not fiscal year. Beginning of the school year, so if there's a raise, they will be retroactively paid for that back to August. So I recommend the status quo teacher contracts.
Move that we approve that.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion?
Again, I have to recuse myself
Yep.
from Cindy's.
Yep.
But I'll vote for the rest.
Do you want to move Cindy's out? Or you just,
It's up to you.
let's go ahead and, if you don't care.
You're gonna vote for 95% of the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
99% maybe?
Do you care if we change that motion, Ken?
No.
Okay, so all in favor of all but Cindy Stichter's contract? 5-0. And now I need a motion
I
to.
don't think we should do Cindy's.
Yeah, let's,
You want us to approve
that one?
hasn't he been doing it long enough to keep
We'll
up for
we'll
free?
negotiate separately then.
Oh. No, I move we approve Cindy's status quo contract.
Okay. It's been moved by Ken, seconded by Kevin. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0-1.
Yeah, on to classified. So 1 and 3, you can see there, we have the resignation of Mary Kay DeCrow as a full-time bus driver, but we would recommend her as a substitute bus driver, so that's number 1 and 3. So I'd make that recommendation. Along with the bus drivers, I would also recommend coming back to Triton, which we're super excited about, is Paula Meredith, who will be driving our special needs bus. So she does an awesome job. So we'll go ahead and recommend those 3.
Move we approve those? Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The last 2 here, I'd like to recommend Sharon Stahlbaum as a special needs bus instructional assistant or aide, and Deborah Yarbrough as a junior-senior high school instructional assistant.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to business.
All right, I'd like to recommend the approval. We've had this conversation now for approximately a year. And so thank you for your patience on that. We kind of took a risk on S-Craft this year and got burned on that a little bit. But in the end, just the way that the timelines line up, we didn't really know we found out what we needed to. So we were able to compare apples to apples. And therefore, we are recommend the approval to contract with Miller Insurance Group for property liability workers' comp for 2025.
savings to be determined. We won't
You
get
don't know.
S-CRAF's renewal until late November, early December, but they require a 90-day notice to withdraw from them. So we have Miller's preliminary numbers. He's still working on sharpening the pencil there. Their preliminary numbers is very similar to what we're paying S-CRAF for 2024. So depending if S-CRAF goes up 20%, that could be a savings of $30,000.
Okay, thank you.
So that's when I talk about last year kind of being in that pinch of not knowing. So we had his quote, but we had to wait 90 days to really even know. So it puts you in a really, really difficult spot. So we're hoping that last year they were about even. In fact, Miller's would have been a little bit more, but then it went up
I was going to say, last year, I think Miller's
9%.
$10,000 higher than what we paid the previous year for S-CRAF, but S-CRAF went up like $30,000, and so Miller's
Would have been cheaper.
hindsight
Yeah.
would have been about $20,000 cheaper.
So,
I move we,
so we're not going to make that mistake twice. Sorry.
I move we approve that change.
Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? More discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is our resolution to withdraw. So I recommend the resolution to withdraw from S-CRAF. That has to be done 90 days in advance. So we're giving them plenty of notice to let them know that we're moving insurance companies.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next recommendation was simply because the October 14th date is the first day of fall break. So really, I guess I would make that recommendation, but we can also have discussion if we feel like that is not needed because of everybody being here, but also just thinking about possibly principals. Principal Mr. McCann's around here somewhere. There he is. If they're out of the bill, I mean, I can obviously represent them if we want to keep that on the 7th, if that's a concern, but, so I would make that recommendation, but we can discuss that for sure.
I may be gone, Wes may be in the field, but that
Or the
doesn't
fourth.
matter.
For the
I'll be here.
For the 7th or the 14th?
14th, fall break. I don't
We can
know
move it
yet.
to the 7th.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
That week,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
so I'll make that recommendation.
Okay, I move that we move it to the, from the 14th to the 17th, our school board meeting.
To the 7th, not the
7th.
Huh? To the, what's that?
Seventh.
We're moving-
Sound like you said 17th, Ken.
Oh, 7th is what I meant. Whatever I
The
said.
week before, the
Yeah.
first Monday is.
First Monday, it'd be the first
I
Monday
will
of October.
second Ken's motion to move it forward, backward,
Don't even say that.
earlier a week.
Earlier. It's been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? More discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Last but not least, I'd like to recommend the approval of permission to advertise the CPF budget, also the bus replacement plan and the budget form 3. Just a little information before you would vote on that. The bond will take a lot of the expenses for the capital projects fund this year. It will be a light year out of appropriations, so that's always a positive. The bus replacement, we're thinking of replacing one large bus and one mini bus, is what's on the plan. So if that gives you a little bit of idea of what those two items are. Budget, as far as that's not complete yet, but budget form number 3, it will be similar to our budget in the past, similar to our budget this year.
Are the buses being replaced in a more timely fashion, like when we order them to when we get them? Is it any better than?
No, the short answer is no. We're, they say 18 months from the time we order them.
Laura had mentioned a difference in, is it automatic versus, what was the,
No.
Propane
yeah.
versus gas.
Hydraulic brake.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make a difference or it's still late?
I think so. I think we're one of the few corporations that don't require a hydraulic brake endorsement. And so the buses we order, is mass-produced is, but I think we're switching after this year to get some hydraulic.
They're there are individuals that are trained on that, and so if there's an issue, they'll just switch their buses for now to prolong their careers possibly.
And what about the propane information we got? Are we looking to go that way or not
I know
yet?
Laura was looking hard at it for a while. I haven't heard any more talk on it.
Okay.
I think she's still high on it. I don't know that we've made a decision to say this one will
We're
be
gonna go that
propane
way.
or not.
He's high on propane.
What's that?
Nothing,
Inappropriate joke, I think.
yeah,
Sorry.
joke didn't go, so,
I move that we approve all of those documents and the ability to advertise those things wherever they need to be advertised.
I'll second it.
the move by Steve, second by Ken, any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. All right, on to superintendent reports.
All right, so continuous improvement. I think it's important to note that our new staff has been a breath of fresh air and will prove to meet our hope and expectation for continuous improvement. They're a crew that's sold out to the cause, and I'm hopeful that Triton will breathe new life into their career and passion to serve in the field of education. So far, I'm very impressed with how they have worked to get to know their students and how professional they are running their classrooms. So we've had great feedback thus far for those new positions. Shared leadership, we had a very successful opening day as we invited the executive director of the National Center for Drug Endangered Children, Eric Nation. He did a great job speaking to our staff, talking about their why, and really giving some very poignant examples of what it looked like when somebody did live their why versus just doing the day-to-day grind without really having a passion for their job. So he encouraged the Triton staff and other guests and local service organizations to live out their why, like I said, communicate for the sake of our children, and continue to look for ways to meet and solve concerns together, taking into account the many lenses and parameters that we all work in. So we had law enforcement agents there from Marshall County, ISP, State Police. We had Bowen Center, Ford County, probation, prosecutor's office was there just to all hear this. And the fact is that we all have roles to play for the kids that sit in front of us, and just a reminder of what that looks like and how we need to continue to communicate. Building level leaders planned and prepared opening day, resources for new and returning staff on topics of safety, schedules, instructional expectations, and gave leadership teams the opportunity to share out concerns, changes, or future initiative expectations, including but not limited to instructional process, safety, talking about a new hall pass monitoring process, supervision needs, expectations, and communication with parents. Social responsibility, Jacob's Run and the Bourbon Summerfest was a huge success. From what I could tell, things ran smoothly, and I think so many who had a part in making this a great event, but particularly Lonnie Berkey and the Triton custodial staff are working so hard to make this a fun event for all involved. Communication was very good this year. Barry took initiative to make things a little bit more efficient when it came to hooking things up for the food trucks and all of that. So many could be seen having a good time, enjoying the beautiful weather and the activities. So just an absolute success for our community. Difference makers is our theme this year. So just wanting to look at those people that make a difference, maybe focus on more on those people than the ones that seem to be just energy suckers. So I do want to thank the Bourbon Police Department and the Town Maintenance Department for helping pick up and drop off processes this year, along with the morning crosswalk duties to ensure student safety on their commute to school. I also want to thank the Town Council for their support of the Triton SRO position and partnering with Triton to make this possible. Know that we will continue to communicate with one another to maximize this position on our campus and within our community. So I just want to give them a shout out and say thank you. Accountability goes without saying that this last weekend was a big weekend for our community. The start of the school, parade activities, garage sales, fireworks, tractor rides, community breakfast, and the list goes on. To arrive this morning at school to see our grounds spotless after the activities that took place on Saturday and Sunday shows that our community cares for our school, our town, and the community that we are blessed to be a part of. The pride of ownership was on full display this weekend, and that should be celebrated. When we come together for good of our community, we're capable of some amazing things, and so here's to hoping that happens more and more into the future. So that was great weekend, but also this morning, things were in order, prepared for our kids to have a successful start to the year. High expectations. Students are establishing a culture of high expectations in the classrooms this week. The time spent on getting to know students, that's obviously staff as well, asking them their interests, greeting them at the door, which a couple of our new teachers have done, setting boundaries to follow in the hallway or in their classroom, helping them know what is being prepared for class, what being prepared for class looks like, reviewing expectations when proper procedures are not followed, recognizing those who are doing what they have been asked to do, and so many more items that extend the extracurricular activities. So many of the people that you're looking at right now are coming from volleyball practice, football practice, tennis practice, right? Mr. Grindle said on his first day when he was getting to know students, he was so impressed and so thankful. The fact is that our kids were involved in so many different things, so he noted that. So I just thank our teachers and our students for exemplifying high expectations for meeting those goals. Thank you to our bus drivers, cafeteria workers, teachers, support staff, custodians, coaches, and sponsors for setting high expectations and doing everything we can to prepare our students to perform well into the future. Alignment, I do want to thank members of the football team. I did have a conversation with Dante today, knowing that he was one of the individuals. I think I sent you an email today if you haven't seen that. We had some football players step up at the Summer Fest with some little rowdy youngsters that were using some pretty foul language, my understanding, and I say punked them out, but I don't know that you really punked them out. I think you let them know that that was not acceptable, and I think a lot of that comes from, and maybe that's not true, but has to be a little bit of the football team and or small groups of that team have been tasked to lead well, right? Whether that's not just when we're wearing the uniform, but when we're in the community, and that was noted by multiple patrons, and those emails were sent to, I think, Rodney. I think Mr. McCann received that email, but just dug a little bit deeper to say thank you, Dante, for being part of that, as he's here today. So I guess all that to say, vendors at the Summerfest were keeping some younger students accountable, making sure they were adhering to community norms, proper behavior, and holding them to higher expectations than their previous actions showed. The integrity piece that I love about that is I don't know that anybody knew or was watching, right? So the integrity of doing the right thing when nobody's watching. I don't think the people that did that really knew that there were onlookers that were going to send us an email to say thank you, but that did happen. So just a tribute to alignment in what we believe and what we try to accomplish. So thank you. That's just one example of it. Happens a lot, and I thank our kids for that. We're pretty blessed with great kids. Evidence-based decision-making, a couple items that have garnered a little bit of attention this school year, implementation of legislation as it relates to cell phones. I'm sure I was encouraging you guys last one, right? But I'm sure that our patrons in front of us aren't necessarily happy with the legislation that took place with cell phones, but I think if we all understand that the reason that was done was not to punish, but to try to make sure our instructional time is held dear, I think we're accomplishing that purpose. And then the other piece of that, if anybody loves the Bourbon Community Cares page, there was a survey sent out evidently getting people's thoughts on the hallway monitoring system. And really all of that is once again, it is a safety feature. It is to protect people from meeting up in the bathroom and having ill intent. It is to put barriers around our instructional time. So I think the heart behind that is really good, even though I don't think any of our students have chips on them. We're not tracking you, right? Anybody being tracked other than your cell phones and all that stuff? So a lot of things can be said hypothetically, but in the end, if students in our building are doing the right thing, they have absolutely nothing to worry about. It does protect instructional time. The system helps better protect students when meeting up in bathrooms. It alerts staff if someone's missing for an extended period of time. It does not track the students, as was mentioned on there. And if anyone has any further questions, I just encouraged them to give me a call, and would be more than happy to give them a little tutorial on the system. So that's all I got for today.
Any patrons' comments? Do you have any questions of anything we've gone over so far?
You got anything, Ryan?
No, but the microphone for Nate.
Oh, okay. Do we have any patrons?
Anybody have any questions?
There's certainly questions out there.
there's no silly questions. We'll answer them all.
They don't want to prolong the meeting.
We are speedily moving along.
Yeah, smart
Yeah,
group.
we're way ahead of schedule if you have questions.
If you have questions
We should
afterwards.
figure out how to give them extra credit if they ask a question.
What is it with you?
Give somebody a
You know,
t-shirt
I
if you
should-
ask a question.
We can
Right?
tell them
No
they get
patrons'
extra credit.
comments, we move on to building
Might
reports.
Okay. A little update from the junior, senior high school. Current enrollment, we're at 424 students. Right now, we have 6 students at Advantage, our alternative school. 22 students are currently involved in internships, and we currently have 70 students involved in one of our many CTE programs. Mr. Riffle talked a little bit about new staff. So we have 5 new teachers at the junior, senior high school, 1 instructional aide, and we have a new nurse. So a lot of new faces and names in the building. They seem like they're off to a great start. Kudos to Rick. He put together a new teacher orientation for our new staff, just trying to get them up to speed on all the ins and outs and how we do things here at Triton. And then we also teamed those new teachers up with a mentor, and I think we've got some really good matches there. So first few days have gone really well, at least in my opinion. I don't know if everyone feels the same way, but it seems like it's gone well. Beginning of the year assessments are underway. We had grade level meetings on Friday, and those meetings continue today with juniors and seniors. We just talked about expectations. Much of that was repeat from every other year that we've had those conversations. A little bit of a cell phone update and also some of the digital hall pass updates as well. So on August 16th, we have a Career Innovation Center ceremony. So that's going to be the future of our CTE programs. We're trying to create at least a main hub in Plymouth. So we'll be doing a little bit of a, I guess, a groundbreaking ceremony for that. And I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be really great for our kids. And then on the 26th of August, we have a counselor brunch, and that's something we started up last year, and it's basically just giving an opportunity for our counselors and counselors from other school corporations the chance to collaborate, share ideas, and again, just best meet the needs of our students. So that's going to take place here at Triton. So that's all I got, unless you have questions for me. Thank you.
Well, we are geared up here at the elementary as well. I'd like to thank all the parents really for their great attendance at registration in late July. Back to school night, we saw tons of parents there. Kindergarten visits, they showed up really well to meet the kindergarten teachers and bring their student in. Preschool orientation, first day, we had a late start for pre-K and kindergartners so parents could come in. And I think all these things were well attended, really helped make first couple days run a lot more smoothly. So we appreciate that. We're still working out some of our kinks with dismissal, just basically trying to get everybody on the right bus or whether it's the right car. And that's really thank our bus drivers for their patience. Laura Baker has helped us every day last week over there just to be present at dismissal time to help with those bus changes and so forth. So it seems like it's going well. And but there's always little kinks there at the end. Sometimes people don't even remember which bus they were on last year, or maybe their driver changed, or their number did, or where it's at the elementary, and so there still causes some confusion. But all in all, it's going pretty well. We did welcome 2 new teachers and an instructional assistant, and they seem to be doing a great job. And I do believe they're going to contribute a lot to our school, to our district, and to our students. We made some minor changes in the lunchroom schedule and that we put in place and the way we do things in order to make things run more smoothly, but change is change, and sometimes it takes a little getting used to. I thought it went really, really well, and so I'm excited about that. I think it will be good in the long run for all of our students. We have a number of high school students serving as peer tutors coming in and out throughout the day to help in classrooms. I think that's another win-win for hopefully for our students to show some leadership, get some experience, but then also for our elementary students and our teachers, you know, to build some other relationships as well, and for our teachers to have another helping hand in the classroom. It's great serving as a role model. We have started this week with reviewing each element of pride. Today was personal responsibility. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about respect, and then integrity, determination, and enthusiasm. For many of our students, it's review, but we do have a number of new students. We just had another new student today, and we're going to be having a couple more students this week. So we just want good reminders for all of us. We are starting as well, like Nate said, beginning of year assessment started today with 6th graders doing their dibbling, and this Thursday, we have test security training for our whole staff as well. We will be looking at doing some new things with iLearn this year, which means we'll do some earlier checkpoints. Instead of our NWEA testing, we'll be doing checkpoints through iLearn. And so we want to be ready for all of that. So I think we're off to a good start. If you have any questions, be glad to answer them.